Hey guys, so what's up? Today I want to talk about Captain America, Winter Soldier. Normally I wouldn't do this weird dance. I had a little too much green tea, iced tea. Delicious! Right now it's totally 9 p.m. I should be in bed right now as a teacher on a school night. But instead, I'm super hyped up on caffeine. And I saw Winter Soldier this weekend, and normally I wouldn't do this. Normally I wouldn't review a movie that is still out in theaters. I like to watch it afterwards when it comes out on DVD, Blu-ray, Netflix, whatever you want to call it, and analyze the out of it. But I have to talk about Winter Soldier because this movie was fucking awesome. Because this movie, right, normally I would be like, whatever, typical Marvel movie, but this movie, when I went in, I was like, this is pretty good, and then it's like, blam, 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 oh, action there, action there, action there, action there, and then the plot was sweet too. Everything came together like a giant, delicious, awesome cookie of awesomeness. Got the layers of deliciousness in there. I don't even know what I'm saying. So, yes, exactly, Trey. I totally agree with you. It was that awesome. So Winter Soldier. Maybe it's just because I actually went to see this with my girlfriend on our 6-month anniversary. By the way, 6 months may not seem a lot like you guys, but I have the attention span of a hamster. I was like, what's that? See, attention span of a hamster. So, if I can last 6 months, that is awesome. And my girlfriend is awesome, and that has nothing to do with Captain America Winter Soldier. But anyway, we went to see it in 3D, IMAX. By the way, the IMAX part is totally worth it because there are a lot of beautiful visuals. The 3D part, not really worth it. I mean, there wasn't much 3D to speak of that really said, hey, I need to see this in 3D. So if you're ever deciding between, what you're going to see, if you're deciding between 3D and not, I recommend not 3D. It doesn't really hurt it or anything, but it's nothing special. So the movie itself, right? So I'm not going to give you any spoilers. I'm going to leave it relatively spoiler-free. But I just want to say that the Winter Soldier, in the previews, he looks kind of cheesy and dorky and like kind of feminine and like weak. He is freaking badass looking. I hope my girlfriend's not watching this, but I sort of had a man crush on him while watching him. His like arm was all shiny and cool and badass, and like his eyes were like, yeah, like piercing eagle eyes. Like they're like, oh yeah, I'm a badass, but I'm also sensitive. But I also have this deep, dark, mysterious past thing going on in my eyes. The guy who did the guy Sebastian Stan who played Winter Soldier played the same guy Bucky in the first movie. He said that he wanted to express that, and through the guy's eyes, that he was still the same person deep down, and that really was conveyed through his eyes and the acting. So I thought the actor did a great job on that. And also, Chris Evans, by the way, as Captain America, nailed it, right? Everything about him was like Captain America. His values, the way he kind of like, even when he like breaks the law, he does it in such a Captain America way that like they just nailed it. The writers nailed it, but Chris Evans really understands who Captain America is. And then they got this new guy named Falcon, and I was like, man, they got the token black guy, like instead of Tony Stark's got, War Machine, they brought in this other guy, Falcon, who's a token black superhero in this little Captain America thing. When I saw him in the advertisements, I was like, this is going to be whack. He is awesome, and what makes him awesome is that the way they incorporate him into the story, it's seamless, and you really root for him. So he's not one of those, he's kind of like Captain America in that he's one of those like superheroes who's cool, but he's not he's cool because of who he is, because of his foundation and why he's doing what he's doing, you know? And he's really built into the story. He's not just some guy who's like, hey, I got cool superpowers. You want to see them? It's like, no, man, put those superpowers away. No, it's about him as a character. I also really like the way they introduced him in the story. I'm not going to give it away, but like the beginning I thought was hilarious. Me and my girlfriend were laughing about it when they introduced him with Captain America. I'll just say jogging, and if you see the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. Let's see, what else? Oh, so one thing that I sort of had a gripe with, but I sort of didn't, was that throughout the movie, some major shit goes down, right? And especially with S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff, and you don't see any of the other superheroes. And of course, I know in my head that it's because, you know, it's not an Avengers movie or whatnot, and you want to make it a Captain America movie, but based on the plot, you'd expect to see at least Hawkeye also involved, or maybe an Iron Man or something. They make references and whatnot, but it just seems weird that in this universe, with all this stuff going on in this particular movie, that they're not there. Speaking of a lot of stuff going on, this movie is plot heavy, as in there are things that actually happen that will impact the Marvel Universe, and I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that pseudo-political spy thriller aspect, although, you know, it was kind of a little heavy-handed since it's a Marvel movie, but it was done in a tight, well thought out way. I don't know how I feel exactly. I'm kind of split on the fact that S.H.I.E.L.D. we thought was one thing, but it was actually another thing. I'm not going to say exactly what, because I don't want to spoil it for some people. But I actually think on a lot of levels it worked. The level I didn't think it worked on, it was that the newer guard of the S.H.I.E.L.D. that we thought was not the S.H.I.E.L.D., they didn't really explain their motivations so well as to why they would go along with joining this new regime. I didn't really understand that, other than them saying, you know, their catchphrase, which I'm not going to say because then it's going to spoil what the big thing is. And I keep saying I'm not going to say this or I'm not going to say that, so you'll have to watch the movie. Another thing that I was like, you know, got major beef with this. By the way, I'm just talking, riffing off of this, so if you're seeing how I'm just like saying like, here, 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 there. Usually I script my stuff, but I'm just going blah. So, and plus, I'm drinking this still. Delicious. Let me look at the camera. Another thing that kind of bothered me about the movie, and by bothered I mean bothered me this much, because I enjoyed it thoroughly, but I'm nitpicking here, nits all over the place. My other nit is that there's this major villain who kept popping up, and he was like the only S.H.I.E.L.D. operative there, it seemed like, in the whole place. Like, he kept popping up. I'm like, who is this guy? Why is this guy always popping up as a S.H.I.E.L.D. operative? I felt like they should have mixed up more S.H.I.E.L.D. operatives that were people that Captain America had to work or deal with, but they just had this one specific guy, and he was just like a nobody. And the way they did him was very cookie cutter. I'm like, oh, come on. Like, he is the villainous villain because he's a villain. You know, I don't like those villains who are like, I'm a villain because I'm a villain. Yes, I am. You know, I want a villain with a little bit more character to him. So I'd say one of the villains had that for sure. The major villain, the one that's a little bit more behind the scenes, but the one that was more in your face was a little too cookie cutter for me. And that's another thing. I do feel like there are some cookie cutter elements here. Like, I felt like the way they did the spy thriller aspect was a little cookie cutter. The way they did the montage at the end of the different Cs was like very Marvel cookie cutter. Again, you've got the ending credits which are very cookie cutter. So it's like, now that we've got this like Marvel formula, and Captain America definitely fills in that formula in a cookie cutter way. What saves it, though, is because it does each aspect of this cookie cutterness really, really well. It's really polished in every aspect. The action, even though it's your typical blockbuster action, but it's done so well that you're like, okay, fine, this is typical blockbuster. Yes! oh my god, the shield went over there, and then there was like the thing, and he caught the thing, and then there was gunfire, and he's like, yeah! You know, it works, right? So, even though all this stuff, right, you may say, oh, it's like, this is like typical, like compared to this movie, this you can compare to this movie, this you can compare to this movie. Who cares? Because it all works. So, just to kind of summarize, go see Captain America Winter Soldier. It works. It is awesome. I would highly recommend it. I would recommend it more than regular recommend, which would mean highly recommend. I think it's better than, okay, I like Captain America First Avenger a lot, but I think it's better than that, although it builds on it, so that's why it's better. Actually, people may hate on me for this, but I thought it was better than Avengers. So Avengers, I thought it was awesome to see everyone together fighting in that one battle scene where they finally joined forces. That was epic. But as a movie, as a holistic movie, I actually enjoyed this movie better because it just had a better pacing to it, had better just like intrigue to it. I really enjoyed the repartee between Scarlett Johansson and Captain America. Scarlett Johansson. Black Widow and Captain America. Oh, that's another thing. I love how Black Widow opens up to Captain America because she's like, oh, like, she can't like get past his like wholesome goodness wears off on her in a real way where they have a real relationship. I thought that was awesome. And speaking of relationships, if you look at her pendant, right, it actually was that of an arrow or a hawk arrow or something like that. So I think that might be a reference to her having a romantic thing with Hawkeye. So maybe that's why her and Captain America were a little bit, whatever that is the way it is, you know. And oh, one thing I didn't like that I didn't mention already was that I don't really like how they ended the movie, like specifically Black Widow's part where she was speaking to Congress about something, and it just seemed a little weird for me or out of place for her character. It just didn't seem like something she would do necessarily. And some of her dialogue did seem a little weird, to be honest. It seemed like it was like someone trying to write Joss Whedon's dialogue, but couldn't be as witty or funny. So these are nitpicks, but that could have been a little bit better. Let's see, what else? The end credits were pretty cool. I actually really enjoyed the second end credit. I thought that it was really good, kind of making that full circle, and you really feel the bond of the person who's looking at the stuff with the other stuff. Being super vague again. This is not helping. Yeah. So anyway, Captain America, Winter Soldier. I don't know why I'm doing this. Captain America, Winter Soldier. Totally see it. Steveocubed out. Peace. Oh, and also, I'll probably do a full review when it comes out on DVD. This is just kind of like me spitting out my ideas, so I probably forgot like 10 million other things that I meant to say, and also I'll probably analyze this much closer. But until then, watch this. And I am going to finish this delicious iced green tea latte. No, it is not made out of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What's up with their noses, by the way, in the new movie? Peace.